Hello and welcome in. I'm your host, Pat Bradley, joined as always by my friends and co-hosts, Carl Mann and Tommy Sullivan. And this is the Three Man Rush Podcast, America's most beloved casual NFL gambling podcast from Pat Bradley and his two casual NFL gambling friends. That's right, folks, because I'm on the top of the mountain this week. I'm going to make that mic pop a little bit because I am screaming. I am excited. I am hyped. I told you that these bleeps, it's over for you bleeps. Try not to swear for my mom, but fuck, I love swearing. I said it's over for you bitches. And I meant it because your boy is riding high this week. But before I get too high, maybe melt my wings as I fly past the sun. Tommy, Carl, week 13 already. I don't know if you guys can believe it. I can't, certainly. How we doing?
This is like give a mouse a cookie, but give Patrick a W. Like, oh my God. One time out of 12, he's on top, and he never lets anybody forget it.
Yeah, I mean, we'll be celebrating you next week when you're the first person to hit 100 losses. So it's fine. You can have your wins this week. Yeah.
I am let's just get right into it because you're right. As happy as I am this week with my phenomenal week 12 performance, I will most likely be the first to 100 losses. Although, if the script goes anything similar to the way that it did this week, there's a chance that someone else beats me to that threshold. We'll see how it goes.
There's a chance because if anything in gambling, it's consistency is king for sure.
Exactly. Consistency is king, which is why it's the third straight week that Carl has been under 500.
Wow.
Third straight week.
Crazy. Those pushes are really getting me.
You know what we say, Carl?
Do I need to make a speech?
After two, you just bet the streak until it dies. So, guys, if you guys have a secret underground gambling ring where you bet on who's going to win the week on the Three Man Rush podcast, don't bet on Carl. You might want to bet Carl to lose the week until he doesn't lose because three's a streak, buddy.
Yeah, listen, I'm not here to make excuses, but I'm going to. This was a wild week. There were a lot of late scores. That doesn't change the outcome. There's been plenty of weeks and plenty of times where the late scores have helped me out, especially on that parlay where I hit, just in case we all forgot that I did do that. But
congrats on riding high, riding that one for the rest of the season. I think you peaked in week 9.
I did. And I was a literal a meaningless field goal away this past week from hitting another one. But, it's neither here nor there. A loss is a loss. I could have lost by 1 point. I could have lost by 15. So I'm going to give you your wins. I'm just saying that this past week, there were a lot of games that surprisingly, to your credit, you were in favor of those last minute scores, and they went opposite of me. So that's sometimes just the difference, and that's how it goes. That's gambling.
That is gambling. And as far as gambling goes, as you said, wasn't a very good week for you. You had some last minute recovery, but you did finish 7-8-1 on the week. As I said, third straight week where you're below 500. Carl, there was a point where you were 19 games above 500. Right now, you were just 6 games above 500. You asked me about a month ago if
you don't have to address this every single podcast.
But I do now because you asked me if you could hit 200 wins, which actually was not even mathematically possible. It might have been actually if you went 16, 14, 13-0 every week, but basically not mathematically possible. Since then, I don't know. Now I'm questioning. You're at 89 wins overall. I'm questioning if you're going to get to 100 on the season.
I will
kind of where we're at.
How about this? Let's.
I'm not going to bet against that. We have 6 weeks for you to get 11 wins. It would have to be catastrophic for that to happen.
I bet I get 100 this week.
Whoa,
that's my guarantee. I'm going double digits again.
So you're coming at the king with an 11-win week, is what you're telling me.
Yep.
That's a bold strategy, Cotton. We'll see if it pays off, because here's my fun fact for you. As you know,
Emperor
Patrick went 11-4-1 in a full 16 game slate this week. That ties you for the best record in any given week this season, 11-4-1. But fun fact, I told you guys before we hit record, I'm just simply better than you. That's my fun fact. And I hate to tell you, because I look back at the historical records, back to our inaugural season of the 3-man rush last year. And you know who had an 11-4-1 record in a singular week last year as well? That'd be me. You know who didn't do that at all? That'd be you guys. So as far as records by week, all-time records, you and I are tied, Carl, but I've done it twice. And Tommy hasn't done it at all.
Next time you go back, let's just look at overall records and also winning weeks, and then you can come back with your selective statistics, and we'll see what happens.
We can also talk about how Carl went 10-2-1 earlier this year, which by win percentage is a little bit better.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. He had a couple games off the schedule, which is why I think it's going to be a bold strategy, because we are missing one game. 2 teams on bye, Panthers and Cardinals this week, not playing. So we only have 15 games on the schedule. So, Carl, for you to win 11 this week and hit 100 on the season, you would have to go 11-4, actually, which is exactly what we've done. No pushes, no more losses.
I'm going 13-2 this week.
13-2.
Mm-hmm.
That's a bold prediction, and I like it. I don't just like it, I love it for you, because this is actually kind of a tough week. I think, like, when there's a bunch of bad games, I feel like the trend, and there has been for like 3 straight weeks, I feel like you don't do as well. It's easier when there's like some good games that are like tightly contested between good teams. I think your spreadsheet pulls through, but when it's bad teams, or when you know, like, whatever it is, I don't know. There's too much like unpredictability, and I think it hurts your sheet, and you lose on the margins, which shows up with, you know, a 4-win week, and a 7-win week. So it's tough. It's tough out there for the pros like you.
It's also tough this season as a whole, because I feel like I sound like I'm a broken record at this point, but it's not like there's not parity this year in football. There's just a whole, like, 90% of the league is in mediocrity this year. So it's tough to look for those edges in terms of numbers and everything. But
which you would think there would be parity in the mediocrity, but because there's so much mediocrity and worse, it's very hard to predict anything.
There's 3 really good teams. There's probably 2 or 3 really bad teams. And there's just a whole lot of suck in the middle.
We love when they're stuck in the middle.
Dang it.
Okay. You mentioned a couple of those late scores. Listen, I didn't even text you guys on Sunday. I was quiet until like 4:00 pretty much, when I lost my mind, because I went 3-0 on Thanksgiving. Only one of us to do that. Great Thanksgiving day for me. Very happy, fat and happy, to say the least. And then all of the 1:00 games on Sunday were going my way, until the Buccaneers defense and coaching staff was horrendous. Tom Brady wasn't that great either. And then the Baltimore Ravens did the Baltimore Ravens thing. So, Carl, you both were on the Browns, but it just took like David Njoku, like with an Odell Beckham, Justin Jefferson one-handed snag with like less than 30 seconds left in the game to tie the game and send it to overtime. The Bucs punted twice in overtime. Before that they blew it. Like Todd Bowles didn't call a timeout when they could have had 25 seconds left. I mean, the whole thing was a mess. The Buccaneers absolutely screwed me. And then the Ravens, I sent the text that I sent you guys was like 4:00. Why do the Ravens stink?
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like 4:11, 4:12, 4:13. Something happened. Like the Ravens turned the ball over. Candidly, I don't even know if it was Lamar Jackson's fault. I was just like, it's Lamar Jackson's fault. No matter what happens, like if I lose this game, it's Lamar Jackson's fault. If the Ravens lose this game, it's Lamar Jackson's fault. If Justin Tucker misses a field goal, it'll be Lamar Jackson's fault. Like global warming, Lamar Jackson's fault, I think is exactly what I said to you guys. And then a half hour after that, not Lamar Jackson, although it was his fault. Justin Tucker missed the potential game-winning field goal, which, to be fair, would have set an NFL record. It was a 67-yard field goal attempt, and he almost drilled it because he's that good.
Yeah.
But it's Lamar Jackson's fault. Everything is Lamar Jackson's fault. My hatred and rage for the Ravens from a season ago has come back full steam. I am so done with that stupid team and that stupid quarterback. And now Lamar just can't even take the heat because some fan on Twitter clapped back at him and said what we're all thinking, which is you cannot give Lamar that money. He wants like a $250+ million contract. You can't give him that because this team is built to win now. They're losing because of him. Imagine what they could do with all that money to really build a contender. As we know, NFL teams are built around quarterbacks. You need a quarterback. So if you don't have that, fine. But Lamar clapped back, told the guy to eat something that I won't even say on the podcast because my mom would really hate that one. And gotten some
Don't
shit.
go on Twitter, Mrs. B, ever.
Yeah. Listen, they weren't happy. People weren't happy about it. So I don't know. We can get off the Ravens, but the point is there was a very real possibility that I was going to start the week 10-0 until the Bucs and the Ravens messed it up for me.
Them's the Braves.
True.
And then I wouldn't even text you guys about it because I didn't want to jinx it. And then Todd Bowles and Lamar Jackson ruined it anyway. So
I will say the funniest thing out of all that, first, the only thing that came to my brain during that Lamar Jackson diatribe was he can't throw the ball and catch it too. And the other thing was the admittance of Todd Bowles to say, yeah, I didn't call a timeout because I was worried about Tom Brady throwing an interception. Like I was against the Bucs, but that is just. But at the same time, this is the coach that Tom Brady handpicked. So, I mean, I guess you get what you deserve on that one.
Are we sure? You
Yes.
brought that up in the text earlier. Did he hand pick Todd
Yep.
Bowles or did he just hand escort Bruce Arians?
Nope. The two changes that he was at the forefront of making when he decided he was going to come back, and it was clear the NFL wouldn't let him go to the Dolphins.
And his wife.
Yeah, were Russell Gage as wide receiver. That worked out well. And Todd Bowles as head coach. That worked out well.
Yeah.
Well, you get what you pay for. I didn't fact check you on that. I'll believe it. I didn't remember it when you said it. I'm not going to look it up now because selective statistics. I can't even say that word. So yeah,
It's two words.
I can't say that phrase. Listen, it's chilly on top of the mountain. I didn't bring my coat. I just sprinted up here, and I'm kind of cold right now. It's kind of lonely. So, Carl, why don't you take over from me?
You want me to send you to Dollar Bill Island? Is that where you want to go? Because
if that's what you want, I thought you had something else to add.
Oh, I mean, I was gonna say in terms of like the 3 timeouts thing, I don't know if it got explained anymore, but like again, I don't have football analytics background, but my thought, I don't disagree with not taking a timeout there. I think it's terrible to say that you think Tom Brady's gonna throw an interception, specifically, but I do understand like if you call a timeout there and then you throw the ball away a few times, like you're kind of giving extra time. I don't think they had a first down at that point. I think there was a long pass on like whatever second or third down to get that. Correct me if I'm wrong. We can play the tapes, but I think the reason why they didn't take the timeout was because they weren't moving the ball. Then after that play that they didn't take the timeout, there was a huge chunk play. They ended up calling a timeout, but by that point there was 14 seconds left. They only had enough time for like a play or two, so they carried over timeouts. So I don't know. I think it was like good clock management and then just poor timing. The fact that they had 3 timeouts is kind of the hang up there. Is like, why you have 3, why not use them? But if you call a timeout and you throw the ball away and then you have to give the Browns one more shot, I think they're saying like, I'd rather just go to overtime at that point, which they ended up doing and they ended up losing anyway. So
well, and Bruce Arians was just kind of weird about it. Bruce Arians, Todd Bowles was kind of weird about it because it was like a woulda, coulda, shoulda. Like the question was like, Todd, you could have had like 25 seconds on the clock, but instead you had 8. And he's like, yeah, well, Tom Brady could have thrown an interception too. I'm like, right, bro, like, come on, get off your high horse, your soapbox. Like you just eat your shit. You made a bad call. Anyway, let's move on and just recap the record. So despite all of my braggadocious beginnings here, I'm still in last place. Lest we forget, but I'm all the way up. I made up some significant ground this week. I'm pretty excited about it. all the way up to 77, 95, and 8, which means, again, 5 losses away from the 100L club. First in history to do that because we stopped doing the podcast in the middle of the season last year. So nobody ever hit that number. Actually, I need to go back and check the tape because Tommy might have, but it wasn't a great season 1 for Tommy.
Definitely
it's a slightly better season 2.
There's no shot.
I'm going to check the tape in a minute. It's a slightly better season 2.
So you won't fact check if the amount of decisions Tom Brady made for and against the Buccaneers this offseason, but you'll fact check the fact that we did like 8 weeks of picking games, and you think I made it to triple digits in any direction?
We had 11 weeks, and you were pretty bad. So
I was, but I was not triple digits bad. There's no shot.
You were not, but you're not that far behind me this season because you were 82, 90, and 8.
You're not that far behind me.
That's what I meant. That's what I meant. You're not that far behind 100. That's what I meant. You're not far behind me for the 100 loss club is what I meant.
Fair. That's fair.
So only holding on to a 5-game lead, which as we saw this week could just evaporate very, very quickly. Carl still in first place, but again, like a month ago, 19 games above 500. Now you're just 6 games above 500, 89, 83, and 8. Lucky number 8. Maybe you get an 8-win week this week. I think that's what you're going for. 8 and 7, just to get above 500. I think that's your goal, right? You got 8s everywhere.
I want primetime games. The primetime games have been failing me.
I want the opposite of primetime games. Primetime games have been.
Primetime Carl, primetime Kirk, primetime. Who? What even is primetime anybody? It messed everyone up this week, Carl and Kirk included. With that said, let's jump over to Dollar Bill Island this week. Week 12 made a little bit of a ground up for me. Again, I had 2 DDBIs this week. Carl, you had 1. And Tommy, goose egg. So that means, again, still in last place for me. I have 15, but I'm catching up. Tommy, you have 17. And Carl, you are up to 29. So you are closing in on $30 Dollar Bill Islands for the season. I would bet that that's the one that you get this week. That's what I think you'll get it. Unless we just don't let you have one, but I have a feeling we will.
You definitely will.
Definitely. All right. What do you say we dive in and make some football picks?
Let's rage.
Let's do
All right.
it.
Great. Well, these football picks are brought to you, sponsored by the 3-Man Rush on Instagram. Give us a follow. We go live every once in a while and don't really give you any useful information, but it's fun. If you like hanging out and listen to us here, you should go hang out, like, follow, subscribe, all those things. Instagram at 3-Man Rush. I don't think you can subscribe to us because we're not doing a paid Instagram because we don't really do a lot there, but I still want you to follow it anyway. If you follow us, maybe we'll do some more stuff. So spell it out at 3-Man Rush, all letters, no numbers on Instagram. Give us a follow. Do it. You won't. Great. Thursday night football. The Buffalo Bills head to New England to take on our Patriots. The Bills favored by 4 points in this matchup. It's Thursday night football, 43.5 point total. Short week, although it's not really a short week for either of these teams because they both played last Thursday on Thanksgiving. Kind of an interesting post-Thanksgiving matchup here. So Carl, I'm going to let you lead off and tell us what you think. Bills, Pats.
Okay. Slight homer bet. But when the spreadsheet calls for it, we jump on it. So I'm going Patriots here.
Wow.
I don't love it. The numbers have lied to me, so I can't say numbers don't lie. But
I'm pretty shocked. This is a low spread. I'm genuinely shocked right now.
Yeah, I mean, we saw last year that the Patriots could potentially have what it takes to play a close game and pull out a victory with Mac Jones throwing 2 total passes. Obviously an outlier or an outlier game. But we've also seen the opposite happen where the Bills scored on literally every single possession in the game. So could go either way. I'm going to take the points. It feels good to have a division matchup at home. As a home underdog. I think that's going to be my theme today is home underdogs, getting some covers here. So taking the points with the Patriots, and I will be there to root this one on.
All right. Well, I'm gonna do not so much charades, but I'm gonna do a little impersonation. You guys tell me who you think I'm impersonating right now. Wah! It's snowing. Wah! We have the sniffles. Wah! The field goal post is in the middle of the field, and our kick went wide right. Wah, wah, wah. Oh my God, the Bills are the biggest whiners in the entire league, and they have been for 3 decades now. Oh my word.
And they can't finish a season.
No, they can't do anything. I mean, at least the Patriots, like people harp on the Patriots and how they play these games and everything, but at least they have like rings to rest on. The Bills have 4 Super Bowl appearances before I was like could talk, and that's about it. They don't have a thing. Do they have they made a conference championship this current run?
I don't know if they've made one since.
No, I don't think that they have. But they act as if like they should just be handed every single freaking victory that on their plate, and they just get to use every excuse possible when they don't get it. Now that said, it's a low spread. I'm going to take the Bills, but I just can't stand. I can't stand that football team. I absolutely think they're going to beat this Patriots team.
Is there something that I like? Did they complain this week? Did I miss it, or do you just hate Buffalo?
They're saying they're sick.
They have a mysterious illness that's sweeping the line. That's why the spread is so low.
What? That's whack.
Yes, thank you.
That's whack. Well, it works. It works for me because I'm taking the Bills too. Listen, the Patriots we saw on Thanksgiving was the best Patriots team we've seen so far this season. And they still made a lot of mistakes against a team in the Vikings that I love, but is not, listen, they're not really a Super Bowl contender. Edit that out later.
They also got jobbed.
There's there's the Patriots did. Yeah. There's good teams, and then there's bad good teams, and then there's good bad teams, and then there's bad teams, right? Four kind of tiers. The Patriots are like kind of a good bad team. The Vikings are a bad good team. And I don't know, like the Patriots still couldn't, I don't know. Whatever. They're not good. We saw the best version of them against the Vikings, and I don't think that's going to happen again. Nothing I just said backed that up. Like I had the logic in my head. I think I said it wrong. I don't really know. We're really starting the podcast off with a bang. But regardless, the point is, it's such a low number for the Bills. Like I do think that the Patriots can hang around, but I don't think that they can win. I think it's going to be one of those hang around and then they can't execute late or they make a mistake at some point. Like there's an inevitable fumble recovery for a touchdown, pick six, just turnover, and you give the Bills the ball on the 30-yard line or in the red zone, and then you're going to pay for it and you're going to fall out of the game. It's just the way that this season goes for the Patriots. It sucks. It's too bad. But for such a low number that I am more than willing to lay those points because I really believe that they're going to cover it and win in Foxborough on Thursday.
Yeah, I think that's you and everyone else. So I'm happy to be by myself. I will say some interesting stats here. Buffalo's offense is like ranked number 28 in the red zone. They're not good in the red zone. We know the Patriots have a really good defense in general. The Patriots offense in the red zone is really what kills them. They're number 31st for like DVOA as far as DVOA goes in the red zone. So hopefully the Patriots will bend not break, make the Bills kick field goals, and then hopefully the Patriots will score from outside the red zone like we saw against the Vikings on that 30-something yard pass. I feel like that's what needs to happen is you need to have an open field or rushing because as soon as they get close enough, Mac Jones cannot finish. No offense to Mac Jones, but
as soon as they get close enough, the play calling goes into the dirt.
You know what? I will give you that. It's probably not a Mac Jones thing. It's probably a Matt Patricia thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not happy about the Patriots in this matchup. You're talking about the DVOA and red zone. So little stat check here from Mike Reese over at ESPN. Patriots are 31st offensively in the red zone. That just there's a lot of numbers on this stat sheet that he tweeted out. But the point of it is it's basically touchdown percentage, which is number of possessions in the red zone divided by number of touchdowns or whatever. Flip those
Vice
numbers.
versa. Mhm.
Yeah, vice versa. So that's what these numbers are based on. Score percentage, the Patriots are a little bit higher, right? Because they kick a lot of field goals. I think they have one of the higher field goals converted numbers in field goals, but then like field goals plus touchdowns. Their score percentage in the red zone is like 87% because they're not Brandon Staley. They'll take the points and they'll just, death by Nick Folk. That will happen. But touchdown percentage, which is what you need to beat a team like the Buffalo Bills or the Minnesota Vikings, even very low. Second lowest only to Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos, who have been absolutely atrocious. So when that's your competition, right? Patriots have scored 12 red zone touchdowns in 31 opportunities this season. To flip that, Buffalo, what's the number here? Their defense ranks 4th in the red zone. So Patriots 31st, can't score when they get to the red area. Bills have allowed the 4th fewest touchdowns in the red zone. So listen, I don't think it's a get well week for that red zone offense. So as you said, they got to score from further out.
And we're looking at winds of 15 to 25 miles an hour. So the kicking game won't help them either.
Amazing. Love that. Can't wait. I just got a brand new TV this week. I'm going to watch the Patriots get annihilated. It's going to be so much fun.
I think to your point too, take the under because it's a division game. It's late in the season. Wins, everything is playing
on a Thursday. Even though it's a full week of practice, you had a holiday in there. It's still a weird week of practice. I still kind of think of it as a short week. Do you guys? It's not. I mean, if anybody's not going to treat it that way, it's a Belichick team. But with Thanksgiving, all that stuff, I don't know. It's kind of weird, right?
I agree. It's just an odd mix. I don't know if does this happen often where it's 2 teams playing 2 Thursday night games in a row?
I think they only do it once a year now, and it's only after Thanksgiving, pretty much. Is how it goes because they have a number of teams on Thanksgiving doing it, so they have the opportunity to do that.
True.
Instead of like having 2 other teams play a short week, they just give 2 teams a full, quote unquote, full week. So it's weird.
Makes sense.
All right, we've been talking about the Patriots for a while, but we can do that because they're our team and it's our podcast. But for now, we're going to move on because the Indianapolis Colts are headed to Dallas to take on the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. Total in this one is also 43.5. Cowboys, a whopping 11-point favorite in this one. So, Tommy, I'm going to let you lead this one off. Tell us what you think about. You're so mad. You don't want to do this. Tell us what you think about the Cowboys and the Colts.
I got so burned by the Colts last week in Indy to lose that game to the Steelers. It's that was rough to watch. I don't want it to be a knee-jerk reaction on my part, but I am going to take the Cowboys here. I just think these are 2 teams going in opposite directions. It's probably going to blow up in my face because the Colts just like to screw me over, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, I'll take the Cowboys. Screw the Colts.
I'm gonna jump on the Cowboys too, and they're a team that burned me last week because they were blowing out the Giants on Thanksgiving. I say blowing out. The game might have been closer than the score actually said, but a scoreboard. They were covering the spread really easy, and for no reason they let the Giants come down and score a late touchdown to allow Pat to have that win on Thursday. So they burned me with a backdoor cover. That was one of those games I talked about earlier, but I'm going to take them again here. I just don't think that the Colts have any life. They're going into a bye week next week. I think they're going to just play this week, get a bye week, and then hopefully they'll come back and take care of your Minnesota Vikings the week after.
So this is crazy, but 11 is just a really big number, and I like the Cowboys a lot, but the Colts haven't been horrendous since Jeff Saturday took over and reinstated Matt Ryan as quarterback. They beat the Raiders, who are red hot right now, overtime red hot, but red hot nonetheless. They almost beat the Eagles, held them to 17 points, held the Raiders to 20 points, and then they held Pittsburgh to 24 points. They lost that game. So listen, they're 1-2. They've lost the games, but I think they've basically, well, they didn't cover in the Steelers game, but they've covered everywhere else, I think. So I don't know. I'm going to go with the Colts here. Call me crazy. I probably am. I'm probably going to regret this one. But 11 is just a big number. And for some reason, I think there's a little bit more fight and I don't know, maybe Dallas is just foot off the gas a little bit. Carl, you like to talk about those national games, right? Like last week, you were talking about Chiefs and Rams, and you thought it would be a little bit closer, which is part of why I was in that parlay for you. You're not wrong, right? They don't like to have big blowouts in those games. Like we saw CBS cut away from the Cowboys Vikings game because it was such a blowout. You couldn't even watch it on Red Zone. So I don't know. Something just smells weird about this. 11 feels too high. I'm gonna regret it 1,000%. But give me the Colts plus 11 points on Sunday Night Football on an island.
I think it's a shrewd take considering the low game total, which would lend itself to at least a closer game or harder to beat that spread. So I think that it's a shrewd move on your part.
Well, I think like if this is a game that I'm going to lose on a backdoor cover, I can't be like the way I see it is like I lose on a backdoor cover. I can't necessarily be mad about it. Like I had the game guessed right. It just they took their foot off the gas, and I mean that's the price you pay when you're laying the points. That's why Vegas does it. But the flow of the game wasn't such where it was like, oh, they weren't covering, then they were right at the end. It was like they had a pretty substantial lead for a while, and then all of a sudden, just the last drive. You know what I mean? So if there was a cash out option, I would have been like, oh yeah, let me get that. But
right. Well, that's part of what it is too. Like I think there's a lot of backdoor cover potential here. I think this is a Colts team that is maybe a little reinvigorated since their coach was fired. They've got their quarterback back after he had been benched.
But they just also got like
the same thing last week.
They got like masterclass by Kenny Pickett, and now they're going to go up against Dak Prescott in a two-headed backfield with Tony.
Are we
Pollard
sure Dak Prescott is good? No, I'm just kidding. I won't do that again.
Anyway, better defense, better offense. Papa John's. Give me the Cowboys.
I just think. Listen, the reason I picked the Steelers last week was their defense. Am I a little surprised that Kenny Pickett put up 24 points? Sure. But I picked them because of their defense. And we'll talk about them later on. I don't know, different kind of script, different team entirely, but it's just because it's 11 points. If it was like a single digit, I would probably still take the Cowboys. Like 9.5, I'd probably take the Cowboys, but 11, I think is too high. So I'll regret it. You guys will get that one. I won't be on the island, but we'll see. For now,
classic reverse jinx. I see what you're playing.
No. Listen. It's like you said, right? Like as soon as you said Texans last week against the Dolphins, you regretted it, and I told you we said there was backdoor potential, and that almost happened. The Texans almost covered on the back door when the game was totally out of reach and the starters were sitting. So who knows?
Yeah. Hear me out. Right. I will say one thing before we move on. If the Cowboys win this game by 9, I will be the most pissed about anything else. If they win by, because they would have just missed, like I would have taken it at like 9.5, I think. And if they won by 9, they wouldn't have covered that. But like the fact that it's up at 11 right now, like, you know what I mean? If they win by 9, I'm going to be furious. This might be a teaser game for me, but anyway, move on.
Noted.
Okay. Monday Night Football. The New Orleans Saints head to Tampa Bay to take on Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. The Bucs are 3.5-point favorites on Monday Night Football. Total is 43 here. The Saints seem to, quote unquote, have Tom Brady's number since he went to Tampa Bay. Every time people say that, they forget that Brady beat them in the playoffs en route to a Super Bowl on the road and sent Drew Brees to retirement in the process. So, okay, cool. The Saints own the Bucs, yada, yada, yada. The Bucs stink. I don't like 3.5. I really should take the Saints, but I can't quit Tom Brady. So I'm taking the Bucs. I'm laying the points. I already regret it. This is going to be the week where I come back to earth because I'm making bad decisions. I hate the hook, especially 4 points just feels like too much, but that Saints offense is really bad. I just don't think the Saints are good. I don't think they can score. The Bucs can't either. So it's going to come down to defense and who does it better. And it's a toss up. So I'm just going to go with the guy that has brought me joy for my entire life. And that's Tom Brady this week.
Yeah, I actually agree with you. I'm going to go with the Bucs as well. Maybe part of it is some of it is betting with my heart and not my head, because in our fantasy football league, Alvin Kamara, I lost by 3 points. Alvin Kamara fumbled twice. So that was the difference right there for me.
I didn't know that. That's brutal.
Yep. So that happened. Shout out producer Dan for beating me by that margin. Um,
Wow, that's amazing.
but that said, I think Rashad White had a really good game for the Bucks this past week.
Yeah.
Every team in this division stinks, but I think that the Bucks are still the best team there. So at home with 3.5 points, even though I'm right there with you, Pat. I think it's going to come down to 3 points.
Mhm.
So that hook is going to kill me, but I am going to take the Bucks here.
When's this game being played?
Sunday night.
Monday night.
Oh, Monday night. My bad.
Oh, Monday night. And who's the quarterback of the Saints?
Well, did they make
Andy.
a swi-
I don't know. If it's Andy Dalton, we're betting against primetime Andy Dalton. That's okay.
right.
I'm
call.
give me the Bucks. Short
Okay.
and sweet.
Sweet
I
Easy
forgot
peasy.
about that. I feel so much better.
That actually does make me feel better.
Bucks.
Too.
Bucks by 1 million.
Wow. I mean,
That
I don't
number-
know if
not
I would
like
also
me.
How many times has one of us said that? Mostly me, and it's just gone catastrophically wrong. All right,
Yeah, that'd be
Fade-
quite the alternate spread by 1 million, but
Fade. What do you think the odds on that would be? Pretty crazy.
plus
Uh,
$1 million.
Infinity.
Yeah, infinity odds. They would just give you a whole casino, like off, like not on Vegas Strip, maybe like a small one in like Missouri or something, but like you probably get one. What was the other Nick? They obviously lost to the Cardinals. That was the crazy game that we like first recognized the streak there. But what was the other game that they played at night? Who was it against? Do you remember? Does anyone remember?
It was the Cardinals when we talked about it. The Saints played in London, and we counted that as prime time.
I think
Maybe.
was it the Bengals? Because I thought it was like an Andy Dalton revenge game that didn't end up being a revenge game.
There was a Bengals game.
Because it was in New Orleans. I forget if it was a primetime game or not, though. I don't think it
know.
was.
I think that was I think that was earlier in the season.
It was
but I
either
guess
that. It might have been the Cowboys. Because that's
I
the
don't know.
other
It was
team that they played
it was
for.
after the Cardinals game. I don't remember if it was a revenge game or not, but either way, they were supposed to lose by like 2 touchdowns. So
It was probably a Thursday. I don't really know. I could go back and look, but
it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. Bucks for all of us.
Andy Dalton, love that. Love that for us. Hey, speaking of those Bengals, they're right here in the game of the week for me. So we're going to move right along because the Kansas City Chiefs are headed to Cincinnati to take on those Bengals. Chiefs are favored by only 2 points in this one. Total is 42.5 points. Tommy, you want to lead us off?
Yeah, sure. I actually have a little live update on a scheduling quirk. The NFL has flexed out. I think it was December 7th, or either that or either whenever the Broncos and Chiefs are supposed to play on Sunday night, they flexed out for the Chargers and I forget who else. It doesn't matter what matchup is being played. I just think it's funny that Russell Wilson has been so bad that they flexed out Pat Mahomes from a primetime spot.
Exactly.
That is wild to me. To put it in, to put that season in perspective of how bad
It's
Russell
next
Wilson's
week.
been this year.
Yeah, next week. Yep. December 11th.
But I mean, speaking of low spreads, I think the Bengals are rebounding nice enough. I don't think they're on the same level as the Chiefs this year, and I don't think that they should be on the same level of like just being a 2-point underdog even at home. With that in mind, I'm going to take the Chiefs here. I think they win this game. I think they win. If they win by at least 3, then this is money pocketed. So give it to me.
Well, I would love to be on an island here. And I'm on the Bengals. I think they have a chance to win this game outright. You'll see where I'm going with this as we get through a couple games here, but I'm gonna go with the Bengals, short and sweet. They're at home. They got something to play for, and we're gonna ride with good old Joe Burr. Are we gonna get Jamar Chase back this week? Does anyone know?
I think we are getting Jamar Chase back this week,
Beautiful.
which makes me feel like this is like prime shootout opportunity. And Pat Mahomes can throw to like Rashae Caldwell in the end zone. The Bengals definitely have, I would say, like a greater volume of high-end skill players. We'll see if Joe Mixon can play this week. He missed last week with his concussion and then came out the week before that. So TBD, I suppose. Bengals are pretty hot right now, though. They've won 3 in a row after a surprising loss to the Browns, which I think was the first game that Jamar Chase was out, and that was on Halloween. Yeah, listen, I'm taking the Chiefs. Like
Beautiful.
you can have the island. I think this is a sneaky game. I was pretty surprised. Listen, I thought the Chiefs would be favored by 4.5. So to see it at 2, I just have to jump on that value. That's where I see the value. Bengals are good. They're getting better, but I still think the Chiefs are the team to beat. So I don't know. Rematch of last season's AFC Championship game should be a lot of fun. Kind of surprised that this one isn't in a primetime. Like, how does this not get flexed? How is this not on, I don't know, Thursday, Sunday, Monday? Pick a primetime day, time. I don't know. Like, crazy that it's not there. But Chiefs by 2. Give me that one. That's what I want to see. All right. Our co-game of the week. So I wrote this down. This is my sleeper Super Bowl. Like, call me crazy. Like, if you want the crazy long shot bet odds, I don't even know if I fully said this on our second half preview pod. We all were on the 49ers, and I thought it was going to be like the long shot 49ers bet, and then we all agreed on it. So long shot, but like not really. We were in agreement. But the Miami Dolphins, I think, are my like sleeper longer-ish shot to come out of the AFC of potential playoff teams. And they're headed to San Francisco this week to take on the 49ers. Niners are favored by 4 points. Total is 46. What do you think is going to happen in my sleeper Super Bowl preview?
This is ripe with revenge game narratives here, boys.
Tell me all about it, please.
We have Mike McDaniel going back to San Francisco along with Jeff Wilson Jr. I don't know if who's the other running back that is hurt right now? Like, it's slipping my mind.
Raheem Mostert.
Yeah, I don't know if Mostert's going to be healthy for that, but we have McDaniel and his coaching staff, coaching ethics going back to where they were brewed up into. Where he made it. The words are escaping me right now. He was the offensive coordinator in San Francisco, and now he's the head coach in Miami, and he's going back to San Francisco with Miami. That was the worst way to say it, but I'm going to take the Dolphins here because I think it does come down to coaching, and I think McDaniels is a better coach than Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No, I agree with your coaching assessment. But I'm going to take the 49ers here. The spread's 4. I think I have the 49ers winning by like 5, just over 5. I do think it's probably going to be scoring in the 20s. So it could end up, I don't know, 28-23, 27-20, 27-21. I know that doesn't add up to 5-point difference, but I'm saying, like, I think it'll end up in the 20s. I think there's going to be some offense scored, but I think there's also going to be some gamesmanship, and both teams know how the other team's going to run. So it seems like using your offensive knowledge to an advantage to play defense against it, I think is going to result in a little bit of a lower scoring game than what we could expect. The 49ers are also coming off a really bad showing against the Saints. They did take a victory in that, but it was just a really bad game. And the Dolphins are coming off a blowout from the Texans, which obviously on the scoreboard didn't look like a blowout, but I mean, realistically, they benched everyone within the third quarter. So I think everyone's going to be high on the Dolphins. I think people are going to be a little bit lower on the 49ers, and that's why I'm going to take them.
To your point about the offensive coaching lending itself to defensive game plans, I think that goes more in the way of being able to defend Jimmy Garoppolo, which I think helps the Dolphins a little bit more in terms of like just straight up QB matchup. The Dolphins have a better game plan for Garoppolo than the 49ers will for Tua, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So since the Christian McCaffrey trade, the 49ers have had basically the best offense in football. I didn't look that up. I just know that it's a high number, and it's high enough that it should be number 1 in football, if not like very close. Whatever. Storylines over stats. That's where we're going right now.
Didn't you say last week that the Texans had a really good pass defense, and then Tua put up 300 yards and a half?
According to fantasy football, which, listen, that was like that was the worst segment of the season. So
we immediately corrected.
You did because wide receivers don't score points against that defense because that defense gets blown out, so they run the ball and they stop throwing. So debunked. I didn't even think of that. So yeah, I did. They're so the 49ers, since McCaffrey came, are scoring like over 28 points a game, which is a pretty good average. I don't even want to look it up right now. It's going to be among the best teams in the NFL, if not number 1. since the Christian McCaffrey trade, Jimmy Garoppolo, second best passer rating in football. The thing that Jimmy Garoppolo does the best these days is check down the ball and get it to his playmakers. His shoulder, elbow, all that shit, even though he had surgery, has not been the same ever since. But he's still a good game manager when he doesn't have to go out and like chuck it deep, right? And he has these short yardage, explosive, quick playmakers. He's got like that Tom Brady pedigree of the over the middle passing and the guys that can do it. I just think that offense is too good for the Miami defense, which time and time again, we've been saying we're surprised at how ineffective they are. I keep telling you that I think Miami's defense is going to get better, and they really haven't yet. So we got to see that. But what we do know is that the 49ers offense is really good. And I still think the 49ers defense is great. Despite the injuries that they've had, they're among the best in the NFL. So I'm going to take the 49ers in this one. I thought they would be favored by about 2.5. I was a little surprised to see it at 4, even at home. Feels slightly disrespectful to the Dolphins. Granted, they're traveling across country. I don't know, but I agree with you, Carl. I think a lot of people are going to be high on the Dolphins, but 4 points is low enough for me to feel good about still taking San Francisco. If this had gone up to like 6.5, 6, something like that, crazy. Like I think Carl, you said like 5 was your number. Like if we're talking a touchdown, I'll probably take the points. But this low, give me the 49ers.
Understandable.
Great. One quick point. I did eventually look this up, Tommy. You asked if the Bills had been back to the conference championship game since that Super Bowl run. The only time they did it was the COVID 2020 season, where they played the Chiefs in the conference championship game and lost. And then last year, of course, lost to the Chiefs again in that crazy divisional playoff game that should have been basically the AFC Championship game, Super Bowl. Call it whatever you want. That was our Super Bowl essentially, but that was the only time. So 2020, the Bills went to the conference championship game, but that is the only time that they have been there since 1993.
They complain and manufacture storylines more than I think I can remember any NFL team in recent memory.
It's one of those things where the Bills, like, do you remember a couple years ago, like, Joel Embiid, I'm crossing sports here, was asked about the Sixers Celtics rivalry, and he said it can't be called a rivalry when they kick our ass every time. We've been kicking Buffalo's ass for my entire life.
Society as a whole has, not even just New England.
Right. And so Buffalo's finally good, and like the only like I would not normally consider them really a rival. Like, okay, you guys were really bad forever, and we were really good forever. Now we're really bad and you're really good. So congrats. I don't know if that's a rivalry. Like we were never good at the same time to have like those grueling, awesome, like competitions, right? And granted, we got a playoff game between them last year and we got our asses kicked. Fine. Mm-hmm. But my point is, I kind of consider Buffalo a rival because they're so freaking obnoxious. Like the team, the players, the coach themselves. It's like poor man's Bill Burr coaching the Buffalo Bills. It's angry little blowhard man on the side. Oh my God, I can't stand the guy. And Josh Allen can't finish to save his life. So
it's like how everybody last year was rooting for the Bengals because it was just like they were the hardy underdog. Like the Bills still are that, but they just expect everything to be handed to them that nobody wants to root for them.
They're remarkably unlikable. They're like why? Like exactly. You said it exactly. They want things to be handed to them. They think that they've earned everything, and they have literally done nothing. Yeah. So, all right, we can digress from the Bills, but I just want to get that stat out there because I did look it up. All right, moving on to the rest of our Sunday watchable games. A really, really great slate here. It was hard to pick games of the week. I did it anyway for the good of the people, but awesome slate here.
The martyr.
Yeah, Pat the Martyr on top of the mountain this week. All right, so our Sunday watchable games. We'll start with Tennessee. The Tennessee Titans heading to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles, where the Eagles are 5-point favorites. Total here is 44.5 points. I'll lead us off on this one. When I looked at the lines, I thought this would be Eagles by about 4.5. It was Eagles by 5. All I have to say is I just think that the Eagles are a better team than the Titans. The Titans are a good team. I think this can and should be close. The Eagles have been playing a lot more close games the last few weeks. I don't know the schedule's getting to them, that like some tired legs, like the pressure of the number 1 seed. I don't know what it is. But just a really, really impressive performance last week, which tells you everything you need to know about why this team, I think, can have sustained postseason success. Like from December into January, into February, they have a remarkable running attack. 340 something yards on the ground hasn't happened since like 1956 or something for the Eagles. Okay. For anybody, but that's what the Eagles did this week. Really impressive. You're probably going to come at me with like a Titans run defense stat just to combat that. I have a feeling you're just going to take the points, Carl, but Eagles by 5 is low enough for me that I still like them. I wouldn't be shocked if you took the 5 points and then Mike Vrabel found a way to get his team to cover. But I just like the Eagles in this one. That the line feels right. If it was higher, I'd probably take the points myself. But I like it low enough, under a touchdown. Give me Philadelphia.
So I agree. Last week the offense was really impressive, but they put 40 points up against a really bad Packers team, and it was still a push. This Titans team, I think, is better than the Packers. I think that's not a hot take at all. The Eagles, ever since they lost, like they barely snuck out of Indianapolis with a win. They're pushing against a team like the Packers, allowing that offense and that bum Aaron Rodgers to put up 33 points. I think 5 is a little too high for me. I think this is going to be a really close game. I think the Eagles have a chance to win it, but I'm going to take the Titans here to cover -5.
That's completely fair.
Yeah, I'm gonna be on Pat's side, just so we can't get any more of a lead. No, I'm just kidding. Could you imagine if I made my bets like that? I'm on the Eagles here. I think they win by about a touchdown. I have it at a 7-point spread. So, what do we have it at? 6 is the number for
5.
our 5, even better. I love that. I think it may end up at 6, honestly, by the end of the week, or maybe it's going the opposite direction. I really have no idea, but I like it up to 7. 7 would not be a bettable thing for me, but if you can get under 7, 6.5, I would take that. So I'm going to take the Eagles.
I was going to say, I will say I did have the TV turned off on about halftime on Monday, so I can't say for certain if it was a backdoor push or not, but I did see that the Packers outscored the Eagles in the fourth quarter to get that to a push.
Well, Jordan Love came in the game and just threw like a long-ass deep pass to Christian. Well, it wasn't really a deep pass to, what's his name? Christian Watson. Is that his name? But it was more of like a crossing route, and he like ran it for a touchdown.
It was basically a backdoor cover, more I would say. I mean, they were up by 10, and then there's a late score. It was kind of weird because it felt like the Packers and Jordan Love in particular was just playing to like get some reps in, get some game tape. You know what I mean? Like here's my chance. Like we're gonna let it rip with the kid. And then I thought we were gonna be fine with the Eagles bet because I assumed that they would just go for a touchdown. And then I don't know. They actually looked pretty good in the red zone with Jordan Love. So I thought there was a chance they would get it and they would score and really screw us and that we wouldn't push. But I was hoping like they would take that chance. The Eagles would get the deflection and they would stay up by, I don't know, 10 points or whatever it was.
Yeah. And they kicked the field goal.
They kicked the field goal, which made no sense to me because they weren't going to win that game. And so why not just like take a chance and give the kid a shot to make a play? That was really weird to me. So I was a little disappointed in the outcome of that game. Gotcha. But yeah, that's fair. Tommy, I'm kind of surprised that you're not on this one with the AJ Brown revenge game narrative.
That is true, and I didn't think of it, and now
we'll have fun on that island, buddy. We'll see.
Yeah,
that'll
be a good vacation for me for sure. Whoopsie.
All right, moving on. The New York Football Jets, the New Jersey Nets. The New Jersey Nets. The Jets are headed to Minnesota to take on the Vikings, who are favored by 3 in this one. Total is 46. I'll go first again. You guys know where I'm going to go with this one. I'm taking the Vikings. The Patriots played their best game of the season and didn't cover against the Vikings. this is a different Jets team because they don't have Zach Wilson. Although, have we heard? Are we sticking with Mike White? I can't imagine that they're not. But the Jets definitely look like a different team with a different quarterback under center. Everything sort of clicks for them. It's almost like the Taylor Heineke effect is in place there with Mike White. But I just listen. The Jets couldn't beat the bad Patriots. Granted, a lot of that's Bill Belichick, and Bill Belichick, Kevin O'Connell is not. Okay, I like him as a head coach, but just by property of association, whatever, I don't know. I'm just going to take the Vikings and count on the Purple People Eaters to do their job and win by 3. I mean, it's a 1:00 game for Kirk Cousins, so he might throw for 500 yards.
Yeah, I think this is a really low line for me.
I was surprised.
I'm going to take the Vikings as well. I think Mike White is probably closer to like the Cooper Rush category as opposed to the Taylor Heineke category, where there's at one point where he's just going to have a really bad game. Might not be this week.
Which one is better? Who is higher? Because for anybody unaware, including myself, can you just rank those 3 like Cooper Rush, Mike White, Taylor Heineke? Can you give me? Can I understand?
Taylor Heineke top. Easy.
Okay.
I think he's an actual starter in the NFL.
Okay.
I don't think the other two are. I think Cooper Rush has a better track record right now.
Okay. I thought you were insulting Taylor Heineke, and
No.
we were going to cut the podcast, and I was going to drive to your house, and
quite the opposite.
We're going to take this outside.
I think Mike White is closer to Cooper Rush, where we had some people harping the praise, saying that he should start the rest of the year for the Cowboys.
Listen, I was going to parlay Cooper Rush and Bailey Zappi to go to the Super Bowl, so I was ready.
I'm aware, but I think it might not be this week, but at some point in the next month or so, Mike White is going to have like a 4 interception game for like 100 yards passing.
He's probably also going to have like a 400-yard passing game too. The Mike White experience.
It's possible.
Yeah.
But it's just like this just seems like an overreaction to this line, because the Vikings are still a damn good team and they should be favored by more than 3 points against the Jets at home. So I'll take the Vikings.
Like you're reverse jinxing my Vikings.
Yeah. Love it. You know how you said Mike White might have a 400-yard passing game? I don't know if you checked the stats from last week, Pat, but Mac Jones had 398. And they called that Hunter Henry touchdown incomplete.
Which is the wrong call. Don't even get me started.
Which would have been over 400 yards and 3 touchdowns and a victory. But that's neither here nor there. So give me the Jets here. This is the Mike White 400-yard passing game. No, I'm not calling that specifically. But I do think the Jets are going to win this game outright. I don't even think they need the points. But I'm going to take them for the podcast.
You hate the Vikings. You've been disrespecting my
They're
Vikings.
So bad. They're so bad.
And yet they're 9-2 and they beat the Patriots and
they're not bad.
Thanksgiving.
They're not bad. They're just overrated.
All right, that's fair.
Yeah, I'll be happy if Pierre Strong has a mysterious IR injury that puts him out for the rest of the year.
I will say Sauce Gardner versus Justin Jefferson is going to be a matchup to watch.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, I thought Jack Jones with Justin Jefferson would be fun.
All right,
too.
move on.
And Justin Jefferson put up 30 points, and I kicked my wife's ass in fantasy football. It wasn't a happy Thanksgiving, and she went to bed at the end of that game because Justin Jefferson was dropping so many points on her. So I don't know. We'll see.
Oh, I mean, they're so good at shutting down the best player. They just chose Dalvin Cook over Justin Jefferson for reasons that are beyond me.
Yeah, brilliant Bill Belichick. Fun fact, Tommy, did you know that Mike White has actually never thrown an interception?
Knock on wood.
He's due.
No, I'm kidding. I'm completely lying to you. He played 4 games last year and he threw 8 of them. So
okay, sounds about right.
I wanted to see if I could get like a great Tommy reaction on that. All right, the Cleveland Browns are favored by 7 points as they head to Houston. This one's got revenge game narrative written all over it, but it's kind of weird. It's the first Deshaun Watson game of the Cleveland Browns era. It's the first time we've seen Deshaun Watson play football in 2 seasons at least. Like, when's the last time he played? 2020, maybe. He got hurt, and then we know what happened. All the awful off the field crap. We won't get into that one here. We'll stick to football this week, but the Browns are favored by 7 points. And if anybody knows what to make of the Browns now or Deshaun Watson, I will let you go first because I don't have any clue.
I was gonna say like I think everybody's gonna be on like in daily fantasy. People are gonna be like piling on Deshaun and everything because of the matchup. I'm gonna go the other way. I still think this is like a Nick Chubb like 200 rush yard game. So I think the Browns are still going to cover. I don't think it's going to be because of Deshaun Watson. I think it's going to be the rushing attack that's going to lead them to it. But yeah, give me the Cleveland here. As much as I don't want to root for that deplorable person.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Cleveland also. I think this might be in line with your point, Tommy, but I think that the Browns are gonna come out a little slow, and maybe not the Browns as a whole, but like Deshaun Watson specifically. So I would look out for that. And I mean, Browns are no Dolphins, but the Dolphins put up 30 points easy on Houston. The only reason why Houston came back is because me and Pat and you and we're all playing defense for Miami for the second half.
Pretty much.
Their passing game is going to be out of sync for sure, but that'll just be more credence for them to fall on their bread and butter, which is the rushing game.
Yeah.
If they were
and also, sorry, you go.
No, go ahead.
Well, I think also what's interesting to look at too is they might get him involved in a lot of short, quick passing. So screen passes to either wide receivers or dump offs to running backs, which will help again if you're taking like Nick Chubb PPR, it'll help in his fantasy with yards. I don't know who their like speed receiver is, but I would look at maybe receptions and yards for that guy.
Donovan Peoples-Jones.
I was gonna say that, but I wasn't sure if he played for them or like the Bucs for whatever reason. I don't know. But
yeah,
when
he's over 34, he'll play for the Buccaneers.
right. No, Carl, your thought was my thought, like those kind of quick hit passes. If they were smart, they would sort of close the playbook a little bit for Deshaun and ease him into it. But I think it's just so tempting. And candidly, like, I don't know, do we know that he's going to listen to Kevin Stefanski or be a good teammate? You know what I mean? Like, could he be Russell Wilson and walking in there and be like, it's the Deshaun Watson show. I'm going to do what I want to do. And then like blow his shoulder out. You know what I mean? Like just trying to chuck it downfield to Amari Cooper. Like, I don't know. I have literally no idea what to expect out of Deshaun Watson. You'd think this whole situation would humble him. He handpicked his destination essentially. But who knows? I mean, and candidly, I think Jacoby Brissett has earned a lot of respect in that locker room. And I'm just kind of curious, like, especially if there's like a bad first quarter, I don't know. Does that team just kind of crumble around Deshaun? Like, are we going to be talking about a quarterback controversy? Not controversy, but like, I don't know. Are we going to be talking about like, wow, how bad is this contract for Deshaun Watson because everybody hates him? And I could be completely wrong. He could come out and throw for 450 yards, run for 75 yards, like have like 5 total touchdowns, and it's like he never left. But there's so many question marks and so many different ways that this could go in parallel universes. So for now, it feels like the Browns are the safer pick. So I'm going to go with them as well. But this really reminds me of week 1 when we're like, oh my God, the Broncos are going to blow out the Seahawks. Like the Texans are not good. And we saw that the Seahawks wound up being at least competitive, like pretty decent this year. But there's a world where the Texans just get up for this game.
That's true. And
Cleveland, who has been on a roller coaster anyway this season, just stinks and loses it. I mean, there's a world where that happens, right?
Yes.
So
it would be going full Cleveland.
Yeah. So we're all on the Browns this week. But I don't feel great about it. I wouldn't be shocked if we saw the Texans cover.
And I do not think Deshaun Watson has been humbled by this at all because, as you said, he was able to handpick his destination, which that would do the opposite of a humbling effect, in my opinion.
Right. Exactly. All right. Well, let's move on because the Washington Commanders, my guy Taylor Heineke, the Green Lizard, they're favored by 2.5 points, headed in to the Meadowlands to take on the Giants. I was actually a little surprised at this one. So total was 40.5. I thought the Giants would at least get a couple points, like, I don't know, 1.5, 2 points at home. I mean, they've won 7 games. What are they, 7-4 now? 8-3. I don't even know what their record is. I should probably know that when I host a football podcast, but I don't. We're going to move on. So regardless, the Commanders are favored by 2.5 points. So, Tommy, I'm going to let you go first here and tell me what side you're on.
We're going full Heineke on this one. This one, boys. I like the Washington. I like the Commanders. I think their defense is rounding up a little bit. I forget if Chase Young came back yet or if he's on his way back, but that's just another added piece, another star to add to that defensive front. I think the Giants are kind of like a miniature version of the Vikings, but they're not nearly as talented. Where like their record isn't as good as the team has been playing. And I think you're just going to see another iteration of that this week with the Commanders going in there, winning by at least 5 or 6 or so.
So I'm gonna be on the other side of this. It's a division game, and the home team's the underdog, and I have a slight edge for the Giants in this game. So with them being underdogs, I think again they could win this game outright. But give me the Giants.
The Commanders are 6-1 in their last 7 games. Which
Time's up.
6 of those games have come with Taylor Heineke under center. He is 5-1 as a starter this season. They're 6-1 in their last 7. They are a new team. He's not like great, right? Like 7 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. He's not remarkable, but I've said it for almost 2 months now. It's a different team with him under center. I thought the Giants were going to be favored here. I told you that. But even then, with like the value shift for me, Commanders only laying 2.5 points when I genuinely think they are the better, hotter team right now. I'm going to take Washington in this one as well. So Carl, you get the island, which doesn't make me feel great. But I'm going to just stick with Heineke and see what happens. And about Chase Young, it sounds like he's going to make his debut this week, but it has not been confirmed yet.
We like that.
We'll
You
see.
like that?
It would definitely be a boost for Washington to get him back. But for now, you and I, Tommy, are on the Commanders. Carl, you're going to take the Giants and sit on that island, which will probably go well for you. Okay. The LA Chargers are favored by 2 when they head to Las Vegas to take on the Raiders, winners of 2 straight overtime games, 2 straight walk-off wins. Total here is 50.5 points. Tommy, since you love Josh McDaniels so much, I'll let you lead this one off again. But I don't know. I'll be honest. I thought the Raiders maybe there'd be a little bit of like Vegas overreaction. I thought it was going to be Raiders by 2 at home in this one, but it's the Chargers laying the points on the road. So I feel like I know where Carl's going. Tommy, what are you going to do?
That would make me even more confident in picking the Chargers, which is what I'm doing anyways. The fact that they've needed overtime just to get on a winning streak in 2 games in a row, I think the Chargers are a better team overall. So only being 2 points essentially to pick them. I'll take the better team in the Chargers.
Yeah, we're gonna ride that Vegas streak, but also again a home dog right now. So division matchup, home dog. I'm gonna take the home team.
Oh boy.
That's the Raiders.
At this rate, one of us is getting to 100 something. We just don't know which one yet.
I can't physically get to 100 this week.
So I was really tempted to take the Raiders.
Love this for me. Keep it going.
Take them.
I'm gonna take the Chargers.
God damn it.
I have to take the Chargers. They're only laying 2 points. I don't know. I was probably
You're
gonna
gonna love my parlay later then.
This one, it's such an enigma. I just don't think the Chargers are that good. They found a way to win barely last week. The Raiders are red hot. I should be taking the Raiders, especially because they're getting points.
Red hot. They've needed 2 overtime games to win twice.
That offense is unstoppable. And then win is a win. Who cares? And it's been 6-point wins, touchdown wins. So they're covering those games. I don't know. I'm going to regret this. This is where I fall off the wagon. I should have taken the Raiders, but I'm going with the Chargers because I just think
no, you can't.
Pick late is a pick played, I guess. Only 2 points. The Chargers should do that. The Raiders will probably win by 1 on like a walk-off in regulation or something stupid. So that's the way it's going to go. It's not my week. I can already feel it. I talk too much shit at the top.
Maybe.
All right. Carl's beloved Green Bay Packers. He can't stop betting them. He can't stop chasing them.
Took the
And
Eagles last week.
he can't stop. He can't stop losing money on them. It's the Packers. They're laying 4.5 points, headed to Chicago to take on the Bears. We still don't know if Justin Fields is going to play this game. Total is 43.5 points. And I ask the committee once again, is this the game that we say we're going to make picks? One pick if Justin Fields plays and another pick if he doesn't.
I say no because the spread will change depending on that. So I say we just keep it as is, and
All right.
you just gotta guess what's gonna happen.
All right. Then lead us off. And
I mean, could anyone see the who started for the Bears this past week?
Trevor Simeon.
Trevor Simeon, and he was almost ruled out with an oblique injury, and we almost got Nathan Peterman. That maybe we could have put an asterisk next to, but I guess going to the pick, I'm going to go with the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers is going to play, hopefully well. I guess I'm going against my my home dogs in division, but I'm going to take the Packers here. It's at 4.5. I think it's not enough. Give me a touchdown.
You know what? Aaron Rodgers is an enigma. That is probably the nicest thing that I've said about him on the podcast. I don't like them being a 4.5 point favorite. I know it's against the Bears. I know Justin Fields is dealing with his shoulder injury, and it's probably unlikely that he's going to play at this point. But I just don't like this Packers team that much that I'll take the Bears even if they lose. I think that they'll cover this. So give me the Bears. Screw Aaron Rodgers.
fuck the Packers. Give me the Bears.
God damn it. It's 3 in a row. You're going second the next game. That's 3 in a row that you've done that.
I know, but listen, candidly, that's my word of the week. I make my picks before the game. I actually changed this one. I talked myself out of the Packers because I decided
we have 4 games left. You're not picking last in any of them.
Listen. If the Packers
says you, Tommy, who literally picked games the last 2 weeks just because me and Pat were in agreement.
I know. Yeah, look, if the Packers don't cover, like, we need to have an intervention for Carl next week live on the podcast, because I'm going to pull some stats, because I think you've bet them every single week. You said they were going to be in the NFC Championship game in the preview pod.
I literally,
you told me that there was no way that they could possibly lose the division to my Minnesota Vikings. And you've basically bet them every week, except for last week when you took the Eagles. But then, like, in real life, you didn't take the Eagles. You took the Packers. We don't have to talk about that in more detail. But you did it. You did it. You did it. So
I took him out of
how does
spite.
it feel under that train that you just got tossed under?
I for the podcast listeners, I do bet the games that I pick on here, but out of spite, I bet because we had not gotten a game right when all 3 of us agreed. So I said fade the 3-man rush as a joke and legitimately bet on the Packers. And the worst part is, for the podcast, we had 7 and it was a push. In real life, I got 6.5 and I lost because they didn't cover 6.5.
I feel bad saying this, but like, I didn't feel bad for you because I just thought you were being a moron.
I was, yeah. It was emotional. It was out of spite.
And you were so spiteful that you were mean to me, and then I was really rooting against you to lose your money. So
when was I mean? I don't know. I don't recall. There's no receipts.
Sure. Okay. Listen, just, you better hope that you get a Packers cover this week, because if not, we're doing the intervention podcast next week.
I have 2 spreadsheets, okay? And what? No, I'm just kidding. No, but for real, the one other spreadsheet that I'm not like going by, the one that like I predict the scores with, actually has the Chicago winning outright. So it is a little it's a little different, but we know how that one worked out the one week I used that spreadsheet. So
well, glad you have that built-in excuse for you. All right, let's go rapid fire for the last couple of games here. Not a lot of excitement, a bunch of teams that we hate. The Steelers are favored by 1.5 when they head to Atlanta to take on the Falcons. I'll go first, Tommy. I'm taking the Steelers.
Cool. Amazing. I'm taking the Falcons. This team has burned me the last handful of weeks.
The Falcons have?
Yes.
Oh wow! I mean, with Marcus Mariota throwing passes left, right, and center, trying to hit every ocean in existence, it makes sense. I think that I am going to take the Falcons here. Home dog.
Home doggy.
Uh,
Thank you.
All right. The Jacksonville Jaguars. God, I said rapid fire. I'm not going to talk about it. They're favored by 1.5. I'm so mad at everybody. They're headed to Detroit to take on the Lions in this game, not you guys. The Jaguars, the Ravens. Angry all over again. Total here is 51.5 points. Jags, 1.5 in Detroit. Carl, who are you going to take?
Taking Detroit at home as a dog. Again, I skipped over the Bears game. I took the Packers. If that's the one I lose it. But taking the Lions here on a short spread. Obviously, at this point with that spread, I think they win outright.
Taking the Jags. I was going to go with the Lions. I changed my mind when I made the picks before. I'm going to stick with it now, taking the Jags.
You get your island. I'm going to take the Lions. I think last week was an emotional victory for the Jaguars, and I don't think that they've had enough experience to keep that going. And I think that they'll have a little burnout. And this has shootout potential. This is bad shootout potential.
It's exactly what I'm afraid of, and probably why I won't cover. All right. The lowly Broncos, Carl's favorite team, number 1 in his power rankings. That's why he won't reveal his spreadsheet, because it's actually terrible, because he loves the Broncos so much. He has a Russell Wilson shrine in his closet. Like Helga Pataki has a bubblegum shrine for Arnold and Hey Arnold. That's Carl in his little movie theater cave right now. What you don't see on the other side of the camera is his shrine to Russell Wilson. There you go.
But I'll put on my orange lights here for
Broncos
Russell Wilson.
colors.
But let me change it back to the blue, which is also Broncos colors. I will say we got a Russell Wilson passing touchdown.
Okay, can you update us on the touchdowns versus toilet stat?
Oh gosh, I don't even know. What are we at?
I think we're up to 9 touchdowns. 8 or 9 touchdowns.
It's still not at 12 yet, which is still how many bathrooms he has in his house.
Yeah. So we're rooting for Russell Wilson to have fewer touchdowns this season than he has bathrooms in his mansion, which is 12. We'll see how that goes. I can't believe I'm going to do this. I'm taking the Broncos because I hate the Ravens so much. These are 2 teams that I won't bet. So I really should just renege from this one, take it off my schedule, not bet either side, not get a win, not get a loss. But we don't do that. So I'm taking the Broncos because I don't think the Ravens can win by 8.5 points.
No, I was going to say you're totally fine. The over-under in this game is 38.5, which is a really low number for a high spread of 8.5 for 2 teams that have disappointed across the board this year. The Ravens there's no business for this to be an 8.5 spread. So not only will I disagree that I wouldn't bet this, I'm going to put actual money on the Broncos this weekend because this is insane that the Ravens have this much leeway. The Broncos aren't good, but their defense is legit.
It's gonna be the one time that Carl takes the Ravens.
Yeah,
I agree with you wholeheartedly, Tommy.
I'm gonna take the Ravens.
My god,
wild!
I bet the over in the field goals. I think you got to bet over 8 field goals in this game.
That's right. Fine, but you still. I go back to the stat of the Broncos would be 9-1 if they scored at least 18 points or something like that.
Yeah, well, they would have lost against Carolina this past week, and Carolina sucks.
That's fine, but still, the Ravens don't have a good enough offense to justify this spread. The Broncos have a legit enough defense to cover this with ease.
Didn't I give up how many on an island last week?
Probably.
I think I did.
You won a lot of games last week.
I did. Thank you for acknowledging that.
You're welcome.
Okay. Last game.
All right, Carl, another home dog for you.
Dang, that's crazy.
Seahawks favored by 7.5 points. They're headed to Los Angeles to take on the Rams. Spread's a little high for me, but Carl, what are you going to do? Total is 41.
Okay. Against my better judgment, I'm going to take the Seahawks here.
Ooh.
Hear me out. It's a terrible idea. When I made my spreadsheet, I had different lines, and I have the Seahawks winning by 4.84, and the opening line or the line that I pulled was 4.5. which means we're betting at 7.5. The line's changed 3 points towards the Seahawks. That is not usually a good sign. I'll probably lose this bet by a couple. If I end up losing because they don't cover 4.5, fine, I can take that. If they lose between 4.5 and 7.5, I will be a little sad. But I'm just gonna take it here. It seems like the odds are going in my direction. At the spread, I should take the Rams, but I'm gonna take the Seahawks because I'm just gonna ride with my numbers. My original line prediction was close enough to the starting line prediction that I feel like the Seahawks should win this game. I don't like it. I'm not going to make this my best bet, but it's the last one on the slate here, so we're just going to go with it.
Literally in my notes, I said I thought this would be Seahawks by 3.5 because I just thought they were going to not get respected after the last couple of weeks. Like they haven't won in a month, right? Like loss, month. So I didn't think it was going to happen. The Rams are really bad. I literally wrote I would take this up to 6.5 or 7, and then I saw 7.5, and I was like, okay, fine, because the Rams are just so bad. So I'm going to take the Seahawks. But that Perkins kid, is that his name? Perkins at quarterback?
Yeah.
Similar to Jordan Love, like he was trying. I don't know if he was succeeding. I mean, they put up 10 points. But he was trying, and I think like that's more than you can say. Like I don't know, there's something about like a kid that just wants to keep throwing, wants to keep scoring, versus like the veteran who has a bad team and knows that they're not going to win a game, that will just lay down and lose, right? Like if it was Stafford last week, the Rams probably lose by more points. As crazy as that sounds, so I don't know. It's whack ass reverse logic, but I'm going to take the Seahawks. So much for rapid fire. I fucked it up. Sorry.
It might be Stafford this week. McVay hasn't named a quarterback starter yet. And if it is like that, even more reason to bet the Seahawks, in my opinion, because I agree with you completely.
I think he's going to be out for the season.
Because then if you have Matt Stafford playing this week, he's not 100%. He's not that much is clear.
Right.
And I think that there is a lot of people that probably have the same thought process as you going into it, trying to figure out what the line is, seeing that it's that hook at 7.5 going to the Rams. When I think that this is going to be the Seahawks in a rout. I'm taking the Seahawks here. I still just come back to, you have a Rams team that has no motivation this year. They don't have their number one wide receiver. They don't have the number one quarterback. They cut their number one running back, and they have their second running back who doesn't want to play for them anymore. Like there's nothing in that team that wants to win right now. Bryce Perkins is the only person that wants to win in LA at this point. But I agree that the Seahawks are probably looking to switch up the tempo, and I think that this is the perfect opportunity for them to do that. I think this is going to be a rout. Give me the Seahawks.
I love your analysis. Well said.
Yep, that was perfect.
I'm really excited for the Rams to win this game now.
Outright.
now that I've made everybody uber confident in our picks.
Straight up Rams win like 13-10. Crazy. All right. Now that we've made our way around the NFL, hit every game across the schedule this week, it is time to make our best bets of the week. So let's just recap last week. L's all around. I had an 11-win week, still lost. That seems to be a trend. Like whenever someone has a really, really great week, they still lose their best bet. It's remarkable how poorly we do on these. Which is why on the season, Carl is still the leader in the clubhouse with 4 best bets wins this season, and Tommy and I right behind him in second place with just 3. So through 12 weeks,
4-8, 3-9, 3-9. That's insanity.
It's incredible. It's pretty bad for our best bets. Which is why I'm not excited to lead us off here in week 13, but I will do it anyway. Carl, you're not going to like this one, but I'm just going to take. I hate this already. I'm taking the Kansas City Chiefs. They're only laying 2 points. Like I get Mahomes laying 2 points. How many times have I said that? What could go wrong? Listen, I just think they're going to win this game. And if they win the game, I don't think it's going to be like on a walk-off field goal. I think it's going to be close, but they'll win. So if you're winning, I think you should probably win by 2 points. At worst, I push. I'm going to take the Chiefs. Give me the Chiefs.
I don't hate that pick. I mean, obviously, I picked the Chiefs as well, so I think that it's sound logic, and I'm gonna try to use logic here for this one, but it hasn't worked out so far this season. But like I said just a few minutes ago, there's no reason the Ravens should have this wide of a spread that they do. The Broncos they have an elite defense that have been keeping games, while not close, not if like I said, their record if they had scored at least 18 points is they would be one of the best teams in the NFL. So there's no reason the Ravens should have this spread with this over under total. Give me the Broncos plus 8.5 for my best bet.
I love that. We're like the anti-Carl best bet segment right now.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I'm going to go
fading Carl.
I'm going anti you guys, and I'm going
Jets.
Giants.
Wow.
Other New York team. Giants. Screw your green lizard.
Taylor Heineke. To the moon, baby.
He's not getting any new Jordans this week. I'll tell you that.
We shall see. All right, just to recap, I'm taking the Chiefs favored by 2 in our best bet segment. Tommy is taking the Broncos, who are getting 8.5 points on the road against the Ravens. And Carl is taking the home underdog Giants. They are getting 2.5 points at home against the Flying Heinekes, the Green Lizard himself, Taylor Heineke, and the Washington Commanders. So
I think my strategy, if this one fails for me, is for the rest of the season, I'm just going to take one of Carl's islands, even if it's against my own pick as my best bet, because that'll probably lead to a better record for me.
Why haven't we been doing that all season?
I've been cold.
Should. Yeah,
I've been cold on my islands.
I know but you have a winter hat on, so you're fine.
Yeah, I do. Also, I guess I'll use this time to shout out Central Catholic football. Don't know if you guys heard. Coach A today announced his retirement from the program. So shout out Coach A. Not that you'll listen to this, but
legendary coach. Won his 200th game this season. Won 3 Super Bowls. Numerous Coach of the Year awards. I was a little surprised. I felt like he had a little bit left in the tank there. 26 seasons coaching. I mean, he's been a football coach at Central Catholic since 1984, I believe it was, but he's been the head coach since 1997. So 26 seasons for Coach A. Retired today from coaching. He's going to keep teaching for a little while, but congrats to Coach A. He nicknamed me Brads in high school, and he would scream Brads down the hallway. So that was one of my legacies for him. But always a good time. Always love to see him. He'll never hear this podcast, but we wish him well. Congrats, Coach A. 204 wins, 204-79, much better record.
Mm-hmm.
That's the record that you're trying to have on the podcast, Carl.
Yeah,
and Coach A got that in real life football. So better than all of us.
It sounds like we should just turn a retirement party into a little bit of a parlay party, right, Carl?
Hey, what a segue.
Oh my God, Tommy, that was incredible. DJ, hit that track. Let's go.
Dance party.
We came to drink, turning up and party. Somebody say, hey, we wanna party. Hey, we wanna party.
No Tommy dance party this week, apparently.
Awkward. Just Photoshop him in. All right, it's the Parlay Party, people. Week 13 Parlay Party coming at you. I'm just gonna lead us off by telling Tommy's dancing with he's not on camera, son of a bitch. All of my parlays last week that I gave you hit. I had a nice little 10-point Thanksgiving teaser. That one hit. I had a Sunday teaser. That one hit. And then I said, throw them together, tease them all by 7 points. That one hit as well. So if you had put $100 on each of those games, Carl, can you do the math really quick? We were minus 120, minus 120, and plus 450. What are we getting there?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's tough with the 120 there, but if you had laid all of that, obviously you'd have to lay 340, but you would have profited, I guess I should say. If you had bet the 340, you would have profited the 650. So basically, if you had bet it all, you would have won $1,000 back. It would have been a nice little return to the bank account. So
would have been pretty fun. We threw some Skittles in there. We had ourselves a good week on the podcast and in real life.
I don't know. I didn't share my parlay. I think I said I was going to, and I absolutely didn't. But
You said you would if it won, and then you didn't.
Oh,
So I
yeah,
assume that it
I
didn't
did.
win.
No, I sent it to you guys after.
Oh, you're right, you're right,
Immediately
right.
after.
Oh my god.
But I was like, I'm not going to post it because I've been posting it, and it just has been like semi miserable. But I had Jets -7, Dolphins -14, Browns +3, 49ers -9, and the Rams +15.5. And they gave up a field goal in the last minute for no reason.
For no reason. The Chiefs didn't need to.
Yeah. To lose by 16. So I lost my parlay by a half point.
I was thrilled because I didn't know that you had that parlay, and I was just getting another win, and that made me cover. And then you sent the screenshot, and I was like, well, it's too late for me to root for the other side at this point.
Well, I wasn't even really watching the game because I was like on red zone and they weren't showing it. It was a blowout. And they're like, we show you every score from every game. Here's this meaningless field goal. And I was like, great. But whatever.
Well,
It's just $100. No big deal.
I'm gonna just let the hot hand just sit back and enjoy its kingdom and check out the view. So Carl, what do you got for us this week?
All right. I've made a themed parlay. So I would not necessarily throw lots of money on this, but it will give you a good payday if you want to throw a little bit on it.
Can we get sound effects too?
Who let the dogs out? You want that one?
You know the one that I want.
Which one?
Why don't you introduce the parlay?
The barking dogs.
That's
All
it.
right.
That's what I needed.
This is the barking dogs parlay. This again will not go well for you guys because I think you picked every opposite team as we went through the list here. But Falcons money line, Lions money line, Raiders money line, Giants money line. It's ugly, but they're all home dogs that have a chance at winning. They're very low spreads also. Technically, the Falcons, their money line is -105, or at least where I grabbed it. So it's not plus money, but again, they're underdogs in the spread itself. So those four teams would be plus 1581 odds. That means 100 would win you that 1581. So divide that by your math, however much you want to put on it. If you add the Bengals to that parlay, which I would maybe consider, that's plus 3514. So you get another 2,000 on there for your odds. That's crazy.
All right. I love it.
5
We'll take
teams.
it.
All we need is 5 things to happen. Home dogs to win.
All we need is 5 things that the greatest gambling corporation in the world thinks will not happen this week for us to hit the 3-Man Rush podcast. Let's ride.
Absolutely.
All right.
That's bad.
I love it. Tom, you got any props or parlays for us this week, or are we just ready to take it home?
No, I'm ready to take it home. I want to have a good week before I start throwing props at people. Let me get a couple individual wins before I try to combine them.
All right. Well, in that case, Tommy, take us out.
Good luck at your local sportsbook this weekend, folks, and go USA onto the knockout stage of the World Cup.
USA. USA.
What a world. Love that. Learned so much.
I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win.
I don't.
Solid 1 goal in the 2 games that I've watched.
This podcast will come out before the game, but our next podcast will happen after the game. So we're in a good mood now.
That's how time works.
That's how time works. Incredible.
Well, I'm saying
work.
we have
Leave this in, please.
we have a game.
Did you know that this week's NFL games won't happen by the time this comes out, but by the time the next podcast comes out, those NFL games will have happened?
It's crazy how we know what happens.
I was
week
talking about
after
soccer. Talking about the soccer games.
We
Yeah,
know
it's the same
but
concept.
still.
The concept of time still applies.
Oh, we are so off the rails.
All right.
Oh,
That's my
man.
parlay, is that I think time is going to keep on ticking into the future.
Listen, please don't say that, because with your record, the world's going to end this weekend.
True.
But we're going to get it. It's going to be like Friday. So the Bills are going to blow out the Patriots, and then the world's going to end. And that's not what I want. So,
No, that's not what
so
I would
take
want.
it back. Take it back. Okay.
All right.
This has been the longest outro ever.
Bye.
Deuces.
Yeah.
ASMR Carl, what do we got?
It's long gone.
Time.
USA.